This is Ben.
This is Jeremy.
You're listening to Small Town Stoics. So we've got a guest with us tonight. We're going to do a little sports talk first, and then we'll probably get some heavier stuff. But why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself to everybody?
My name's Eric. What more do you want to know?
I don't know.
Well, that's a hell of a start.
That's it for now.
Our usual listeners are going to be, who is this guy?
Yep.
So he's new to the show, our first time guest. So we are more than happy and just thankful that you came and sit down with us.
Yeah.
And
I appreciate it. I'm happy to be here.
All right. So let's talk about the sports world. And we have to kind of start off with, well, he's wearing a Texas hat, so let's start with the College World Series.
Yeah.
So what do you like your chances against Vanderbilt?
Well, it won't be Vanderbilt.
It is. Vanderbilt won the day.
Yes, I know, but they have to play Mississippi State tonight.
Yeah, they're playing, but they'll beat Mississippi State.
I don't think so.
You don't think Texas?
I don't. I don't think. Look, I am a Longhorn through and through. I do bleed burnt orange.
Tell me all about it.
But every time Texas gets to this point, they choke. They do. I'm sorry. They have got one hell of a baseball team this year. They really do. And they've had a hell of a baseball team the last several years. But it just seems that when they're ranked high, they go to the series. At some point, they just lose their momentum and they lose their magic. And Mississippi State's got a wonderful baseball team.
They had that pitcher. He struck out 16 the first time he pitched.
Something like that. Yeah.
He was a freshman too. His number was 24. I can't think of his name.
I just think tonight, when all the money is on the line,
And I think they're throwing him tonight. There.
Mississippi State is going to come through it.
So does Mississippi State beat Vanderbilt?
Absolutely not.
Vanderbilt has two of the greatest pitchers I've ever seen at the college.
Yeah,
level.
but they've been struggling lately at the plate.
At the plate, yes, but the mound.
Yeah.
Jack Leiter took in the loss, a 1-0 loss. He threw, I think it was 15 strikeouts in 8 innings. And he gave one bad pitch, and it went out of the park. And then Kumar Rocker pitched yesterday, and I think he struck out 11.
Yeah.
Those two dudes are just too much. I don't care who you are, they're too much.
Vanderbilt's team this year is better than their 2019 team that won the series. Hands down.
Well, see, what's disappointing to me is North Carolina State beating Arkansas, because I wanted to see those guys go.
I really wanted North Carolina State to go. I really did. I wanted everything in
Arkansas
me.
was number one all year, and then
It happens to the greatest. It happens.
So while we're talking about those two pitchers, though, I would love to see Jack Leiter go to the Rangers, to be honest. And every mock draft I've seen so far has him there at number 2.
I'd like to see anybody worth a damn.
Well, the Rangers won't draft it because he's a pitcher. That's
The Rangers will draft some they'll draft some high school
second baseman. That's
like they have for the last 15 years in a row.
Yeah.
That's what I'd like somebody, somewhere, to go to the Rangers that's going to make a damn bit of difference.
Yep.
It's pitching. They can hit the ball like nobody's business, but they can't pitch to save.
Not consistently, though. The entire team, there's just consistency issues with the entire team.
Always. So, sticking with baseball, the main majors there, they've instituted the new foreign substance rules.
Yay!
And of course, we've got some really good video out of there. If you've seen the videos, like Romero, did you see Romero drop his pants on the third baseline? The guys are taking it not so well.
Yeah.
Max Scherzer didn't like it. DeGrom didn't like it.
They're being tits. I'm sorry. They're being big old babies.
No,
but I mean, also though,
they're basically how do you react? How do you react to something if somebody calls you a cheater every inning?
I mean, yeah, that's the thing.
That'd be
Yeah, but see, okay, after Max came out of that whole thing and he was so steamed and stuff and he gave the interview and the one quote that he gives is, "Why am I going to use a foreign substance in this game of all games when I know that they're going to be looking at me?" And it's like, okay, if you don't use foreign substance, look, he's a great pitcher, okay? But the fact is that's the quote you're going to give. Well, I'm not going to use the foreign substance tonight because I know they're looking at it.
He's right, though.
Why are you going to say something like that?
Well, there's a lot of guys that use it, though. I mean, that's the thing, and that's what worries me about this whole thing coming out of it, is there are going to be so many more injuries. Because there's guys that are used to having to pitch with that stuff night in, night out. And it becomes a mechanical issue because they're going to have to relearn how to throw the ball. So your Tommy John rates are going to go through the roof.
But the whole thing is that they never should have had to relearn how to throw the ball in the beginning.
Here's the
But
thing.
they're having to use the foreign substance now because baseball so loaded the game towards the home run, and so pitchers are having to adjust because the baseballs have more pop to them, the bats have more pop.
Exactly.
Right.
And what Major League Baseball should do, before every game, they're not brand new. They don't look like these. They're not just
Your Yankee
pristine.
candles.
They're not Yankee candles. They're not pristine live balls. They rub them down with dirt. Well, here's the thing. Help the pitcher out a little bit. Take some sandpaper to them, rough them up, and then you get a better grip. Because here's another thing. You want that pitcher to grip the ball, because if you got a guy like Scherzer or DeGrom who's throwing 102, 103, and he loses control of that thing, and it hits a guy in the face like Kevin Pillar for the Mets, you're gonna get these facial fractures and things like that because the guy can't control where the ball goes. Now, the flip side of that, should the ball stick to the catcher like a couple of years ago, I don't know if y'all seen the Yadier Molina thing where he's looking for the ball and it's stuck to his chest protector. I mean, it was obviously some foreign substance in play there. I mean, clearly something was up. Now, should it be used to that extent? No. But to the extent of control and safety, I mean, you would want the pitcher to have control. Because if the ball's too slick, they're going to give up meatballs, and also these fireballers like Aroldis Chapman and guys like that are going to hurt somebody. And that's what you're going to want to stay away from. But, to get some guys will do it to get an unfair advantage. But you look at some of the substances that they're using, they're everyday substances. I mean, it's sunscreen, for Christ's sake. I didn't know this sunscreen got tacky. I guess who learned that?
Oh, I knew that.
That's
just because I'm a big boy and I sweat a lot, and so you put sunscreen on. Eventually, walking down the road,
do they mix? I guess they use the sweat or lick their fingers in the sunscreen. Okay, so fair enough.
You rub it back and forth, and then it becomes a tacky substance. So then you've got a grip on the ball that allows you to control where it's going and how fast it's going. But again, if that's what you need to be a good pitcher, then are you a good pitcher?
Well, but I think what they're doing is they're countering baseball's efforts to make mediocre hitters great hitters for, because offense sells tickets.
Right.
Exactly.
And
so
that's all.
Nobody
home
wants
runs, you're right.
No
Bombers and home run. Yes, that's what sells tickets. That you want it going over the stands. You want the entire crowd engaged. I get that. But again, if you have to use it's no different than using performance enhancing drugs. Are you really that great of an athlete if you need to use those substances?
Well,
it's a catch-22.
Like a great comparison I heard was, they're allowed to use pine tar on bats to get a good grip on the bat to hold on to it.
Right.
So should we outlaw pine tar on bats for the same reason? Because it's performance enhancing on the swing.
I understand that completely. And that, again, it's a catch-22. And nobody is ever going to be satisfied with the end result. There's always going to be somebody that's upset with something.
Yeah.
For now, I think the pitchers need to stop being big old crybabies on the mound and taking their belt off and damn near shucking their pants right there on live TV. And having a hissy fit. I was sitting there going, take them off. Take them off.
I just know me, and if somebody came up to me 3 innings in a row accusing me of being a cheater, I'd have my pants around my ankles.
The first time, I would be fine with it.
Yeah.
The third or fourth time, I'd be like, all right, goddamn it, this is getting ridiculous.
Okay, the first 2 times was the umpire's discretion. That was him checking. Okay.
On Scherzer, it was Girardi all 3 times.
Was it? I don't think it was.
He came out and said it. He asked for it all 3 times.
And that was the big question the day after was MLB's going to have to curb and penalize these coaches that are doing it to distract, to mess up their pitchers.
It's going to have to be a rule adjustment.
It's like in the NFL and calling the timeout right at the last second before your kicker kicks to try and disrupt it.
That is an excellent point, because at a strategic point, like some of them closers and guys like that, they have a rhythm. And, they like Craig Kimbrell from the Cubs is a prime example. The way his mechanics, the way he hangs his arm down, all that shit is his ritual. Well, you know what? If you're an opposing manager and you want to get in that guy's head, go check him. Go check him, Blake. Go check him.
That's it.
And you break that guy's rhythm, all of a sudden you're in his head and it's on. Absolutely great fucking point, because it becomes, at that point, becomes a strategy thing.
Yeah.
And you think about it with Girardi, he probably already had that shit figured out. He's a baseball man through and through. He knew that Scherzer is an emotional guy.
Yep.
And if you want to get that guy out of the game, you piss him off real good. One of two things is going to happen. He's going to beat your ass anyway.
Yep.
Or he's going to get wild, he's going to get emotional, and he's going to get himself tossed.
The best idea I've heard so far was that you could only check before an inning or after an inning. You couldn't check during an inning, and then that you got one free check, and then at your second check, if it came back negative, like no foreign substance or whatever, you lose your challenge, your play review challenge that you get.
That's fair. There needs to be a penalty.
That way it would limit. You can't mess with the pitcher during the inning.
Right.
You can do it on the way to the mound or on the way back to the dugout, and you get one free check, and then after that, it costs you your challenge if you're wrong.
So then okay, and so like I said before, no one's ever going to be happy with any kind of rule change. There's always going to be somebody that's fighting against it. So if you were to do that, check before the inning, check after the inning. Okay, if you check after the inning and you find you scored no runs that inning, but then the pitcher was found to have a foreign substance, okay.
That's a 10-game suspension.
Right, I understand that. So that's against them.
But it doesn't affect what just happened.
Right, that's the whole thing, though. It screws my team who, was batting against someone using a banned substance. So what do I get? I know that he's going to be suspended for 10 games, but that doesn't do me any good. I just lost a whole inning.
And you can't give a run or anything at that either. I mean, So there's
that is
again.
It's always going to be a back and forth.
Yeah, the pitcher would be thrown out of the game, obviously.
You would lose the pitcher, but the thing is, what if it was the bottom of the 9th inning?
That's it.
Game's over. This is your fireball closer.
You check the guy on the way to the mound. Like you check him before the inning.
Well, that's true. But
and my whole thing is okay. Yeah, I understand we're checking him. But who's to say are you checking him from head to toe?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, are you taking that hat off of his head and checking the inside of that brim every time he wipes his forehead? You checking behind his ears that he's got goop, and he's just acting like he's wiping sweat?
Well,
back in the day, just
one of the guys that was one of his greatest weapons was his wedding ring.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was Gaylord Perry. He would take and he had his wedding ring where he could bury it down in the ball, and that's what he would do, and he would keep shit under there. Those dudes knew how to cheat back in the day, but you've never seen them check stuff like that. I mean, it's always
the waistband,
flap of the belt, the waistband,
and
the brim of the hat.
Yep.
And it's always, of course, that's the most common ones. Of course, not everybody's going to be like, who was it for the Yankees? Von Nova, that had that big glob of shit hanging off his neck, and you could see it for like 3 innings. You're like, what the fuck is that? And you could see him reach up and just touch it every so often, and then he would throw the ball.
He just kept on playing.
And and it went on for like 6 innings before finally somebody's like, hey, there's some duct tape or something on this dude's fucking neck. But I don't know. You're right. It's going to be interesting moving forward because they're going to have to tit for tat it, and they're going to have to take it to where it can't be a strategical move. Because if they do that, teams are going to start doing it. He's right. It's just like icing a kicker. That's what's going to happen. And you get in some of those dudes' heads because they're such creatures of habit. Mm-hmm. You're gonna take them completely out of the game. So, and I think that's precisely what Joe Girardi was already.
That's what he was doing. For sure. Totally. I don't understand why he started it in the first inning.
Just to see how it went. I mean, you're testing the waters.
I understand. It's like it's second game, and I get it.
Let's see how it works.
If I'm going to do something and try to mess with the pitcher's head, I'm going to start at the beginning of the game, so that by the 4th or 5th inning, when my guys are sitting,
and he's
the second or third time through, he's already messed up in the head.
Yeah, I mean it's never going to be right. There's going to be a point and counterpoint every single, and that's the thing about sports, though. I mean, what are you going to do? He's exactly right.
At the end of the day, they're going home with more money than I'll ever make in a lifetime.
No shit.
So let him have a hissy fit on the mound because honestly, whatever.
Yeah.
That's just it. We can argue. Everybody in this world can argue about it back and forth. At the end of the day, they're making more money than we are. So
I anticipate seeing a lot more pants around the ankles in baseball.
Oh, it's coming.
For sure. For sure.
The Ohtanis of the world won't do that. The crazed pitchers like, I don't know, I think Clayton Kershaw would probably do something like that. Definitely Trevor Bauer. Trevor Bauer would probably come out in his jock strap and pitch if it came down to nothing but his jock and socks.
I can see it.
I guarantee you. And they would probably check his socks. But that's the mentality of those
Could you
guys.
imagine some of the old school pitchers in this there, like somebody testing Nolan Ryan 3 straight innings?
If you did not Nolan Ryan so much, he wasn't so much of a hothead, but like Bob Gibson.
Yeah.
Bob Gibson would throw through you just because.
Yeah.
You know, Bob Gibson, if you dug in against him, he was coming after you. I couldn't imagine you being like, Bob, we need to see your belt. And like, okay.
You'd probably take it off and whip your ass right there.
Exactly. And when the umpire got down behind the catcher, he's going to hit the umpire right in the neck.
Yeah.
You know, because that's just the kind of guy. That's how he was wired. You know, the old school dudes wouldn't have put up with it.
Yeah.
Of course, the old school dudes are just as guilty though because they used that shit. You know,
and worse. I mean, come on.
Yeah, they've got nothing. Got nothing to say, but still, it would be so fucking intimidating to walk out there to or even a Randy Johnson.
Yeah.
Oh no, I would not want to do that. Like, I would be so humble as the umpire. I'm like, look, I don't want to do this. Like, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Mr. Johnson.
I saw what happened to that pigeon, and I don't want that to happen to me. So, you know, just smile, hand me your hat, I'll hand it back, and we're done here.
Yep.
Yeah.
You know, you just keep doing what you're doing, we're fine. You know, those crazies, I guess that's how you have to handle them if you're the umpire. But anyhow, so moving on, I guess we got the Dallas Mavericks have kind of fallen apart, and they're trying to rebuild now. We've lost a general manager or a coach.
Well,
we gained a general manager. We
gained
gained
a
a coach.
I felt like for a while though it was time for Donnie Nelson to move on.
Well,
Like,
Donnie Nelson, sure, but I don't know about Carlisle. I mean, of course, Carlisle was probably, I don't know, why did he leave? Just
I think Carlisle
greener pastures.
Well,
I don't see Indiana being a greener pasture.
Well, for him it is. It's where he grew up coaching at. You know, he was an assistant for Bird there with the Pacers, and then coached the Pacers.
Go to Boston or something where the money is.
I think him and Luka butted heads a lot, and I think he just saw it was a chance. You know, the fans were really, like, if you read like the social media stuff from this year's playoffs, the fans were super anti-Carlisle for the whole postseason.
I mean, all the minutes that he played and everything in the playoffs, and then didn't come up.
But for the last couple seasons,
if anybody should be pissed off, it should be Porzingis. That dude's a piece of shit.
Well,
he didn't show up. He's the highest paid player on your team, and he didn't show up.
Well, but the problem there is like the way Carlisle played him in the playoffs.
Still.
So all season he played him as a stretch 5, and he would camp him out of the basket on defense, and then they would run plays for him and stuff during the regular season. And then the postseason rolled around, and they made him basically like a dude that hangs out in the corner on offense and didn't do anything but just kind of stand there and wait for the ball to be passed for him.
No, I mean, that pretty well describes him.
But I think that a lot of it is, you know, him and Luka, I don't think their games really match real well. And so Carlisle was just trying to clear him out.
I'm not sure that either one of them get along.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, I don't think
they... In life, in general, on the court, I don't see there being a connection. Now, and
between Luka and Porzingis or
yes.
Carlisle?
And I think it's, you know, being brought in so close together, both being big names, Dallas being so excited that we've got these two players, I think they just didn't mesh well.
Yeah.
There needs to be a coming together because whether you believe it or not, apparently you don't. I think he is a good player. I don't think he's played right.
Yeah.
I
think this is a situation where he came from being the star in New York City to Dallas, Texas to play with a second-year player. And he thought he was going to be the star with a superstar Robin, and then Luka became Luka, and then he's
playing second fiddle.
Yeah, he's playing second fiddle, and he's used to being the star, and he's not happy about it. And the game plan's not tailored towards him, and I think he became very disgruntled as the season went on.
Well, I mean, but the thing is, there's no ISP. You know, if you're you adjust. I mean, there's only a few players out there that you give them their way.
Yeah.
You know, LeBron James is one of those guys. You give him his way. Maybe, as much as I hate to say it to Kevin Durant, you give him his way.
Yeah.
The dude can produce. Like in the 90s, Jordan, you gave Jordan his way because you knew what you were getting. When I think of a superstar in the NBA, Kristaps Porzingis doesn't even come up in the top 25 for me.
Yeah.
You know, so I look at that dude as, look, we're bringing you in as a role player. You know, this is your role now. This is Batman. You're Robin. I know you thought it was going to be the other way around.
Yeah.
Life sucks.
Well, but I think
Suck
it's
it
a
up.
situation, and I agree. I don't think he's a top 25 player. I think he's probably top 35. But I think a lot of it was...
for the Knicks, he was a fucking superstar.
Well, but
because, I mean, there's a
But I think a
turd
lot.
there.
I
You
think a
can't
lot of
polish
that
a
was
turd.
superstar on a bad team.
Well, yeah.
Like,
I don't even think
you
he's a superstar on a bad team. I think it was a good player on a really bad team.
Yeah.
Because the Knicks have been crap forever. So,
They're good this year.
well, yeah.
Make playoffs.
They got some of our Duke boys down there.
That's true.
But anyhow, so let's talk about the Jason Kidd hire. I mean, good, bad, ugly, otherwise. What do you think?
I'm not a fan.
Not either.
And not because of a lot of the reasons. I don't think he's a good coach.
Well, I didn't
I think
he
he's
was
probably a
good in
great
New Jersey.
assistant coach. But I don't think he's a good coach.
I think he's going to be a good coach.
You think so?
I do.
All right.
And I think, well, I think him coming to Dallas, I have this feeling. It's, you know, my mom, always growing up, she was like, you know, trust your gut. Trust your gut. And yeah, there are bad coaches. There are subpar coaches. And then there are average coaches that are average where they're at. But once they're moved to a team they want to be with, and they've got the young talent that they can build with, I think he's going to impress. Give it 2 years. I always tell people, give it at least 2 years.
But here's the problem with to give it 2 years is Luka can walk in 3. So if it's 2 shitty years, Luka's out.
I don't think
And
it'll
we're
be
gonna
2
lose to,
shitty
like,
years.
The Lakers or something.
By no means do I think it's going to be 2 shitty years.
Non-successful years. You know, if we're getting bounced in the first round next 2 years, Luka may go, the Nets look great.
Well,
You
the
know?
thing is that we're in the era of super teams anyway, so that may be already be in the works.
Well, I think the
know.
difference maker in that isn't going to be Kidd. It's going to be the new GM and all his ties from Nike with a lot of these big free agent stars that are fixing to come out.
Here's a question I have. Now, I may be wrong, but somewhere down the line, I have a recollection of Mark Cuban hating Jason Kidd, talking about never retiring his number.
So
What happened there?
that was the 2011 season. We win the championship. 2012, Kidd agrees to a 1-year contract to come back and play for the Mavs, and then he reneges on it.
Yeah.
And goes to the Knicks for more money and more control of the offense, basically. And it pissed Cuban off, much like DeAndre Jordan, when Jordan said he was signing
Sure.
and then didn't sign. And so, yeah, Cuban came out and said a bunch of shit, but even years ago, he's come back and said, hey, we've talked that out, we're past that.
I've also heard Cuban say that Jason Kidd is the reason that he bought the Mavericks to start with. You know, because if you guys remember when Jason Kidd came to the Mavericks, it was enormous. Fucking enormous. Number 2 overall pick out of Cal. This dude is exciting as shit. I wanted Grant Hill.
Yeah.
You know, Grant Hill was picked 3 to the Pistons, by the way, that year. And then who was picked 1? Glenn Robinson. Like, where'd that dude go? Just fell fucking apart. But
He had
anyway,
a decent career.
Milwaukee Bucks, man. But anyway, when Jason Kidd came to Dallas, you know, it was like the Triple J. It was him, Jamal Mashburn, and Jim Jackson. It was the first time I can ever remember any excitement for the Dallas Mavericks. Like, you know, before then, what was it?
Like, 88, we made the semifinals or something
Yeah,
like that.
but who was the guy? Who wasn't Alex Harper? I'm gonna keep wanting to say Ron Harper, but it's not him. He was the man
I've
in
slept
Dallas.
so many years since then.
Like 1988. Harper. I don't know. Alex English was there for a minute.
Yeah.
And then
That was pre-cable for me, so I didn't watch
and
back
Ron
back
Harper.
then.
Was Ron Harper the guy that played for the Bulls? He
we
played for the Bulls.
we were too poor to afford
Yes.
cable.
Yeah, I had 10 and 12.
That's all I had was 10 and 12. But you
I had a
still
TV with a dial on it.
Yeah.
Come
you
on,
still,
boys.
That's the way I was.
Yeah.
But I had that shit till I was 22.
Yeah.
So, but anyway, you still followed them the best you could because the Mavs were terrible. They were always terrible.
Always.
It was somebody that you just like. You'd go to Mav games to watch the other team.
Yeah.
Like, oh, who are they playing? Oh, well, they're playing the Lakers. Oh, cool. We're going to see Magic.
Right.
Well,
Yeah.
we see
They're playing the
Lakers.
Bulls. Oh, great. I'm going to be there.
Yeah, no shit.
You
You
know?
know, and that was the thing. But when Kidd came, it started with Jamal Mashburn.
Yep.
And then Jim Jackson, and then, of course, then the addition of Kidd. Or I may have it backwards because there's no way.
No, I think Jackson was there before Kidd.
Jackson was Kidd before Kidd. It was Jackson, Kidd, then Jamal Mashburn.
Yeah.
Because Jamal Mashburn won the national championship with Kentucky. So, yes. Anyway, it's crazy how I remember that shit, ain't
Yeah.
it? Anyway, don't get me started on baseball. I can get you a whole history. Anyhow, so the excitement around the team started then. And of course, everybody was getting in on it. And then it just kind of, with them, then it died. When Jason Kidd left, it died. You know, because Jamal Mashburn stayed hurt all the time. Jim Jackson was Jim Jackson. Great analysts. That's about it. You know, so I can see where Cuban's point is there. And then, you know, Dirk came along. And do you guys remember the outrage when they drafted him? Because Corliss Williamson was there. The 1994 fucking Arkansas Razorbacks that beat Duke in the final. Corliss Williamson was the star of that team. And he was like the guy. The guy. Everybody wanted him. That beat Cherokee Parks. That was Grant Hills last year. They beat him. So he was the guy, you know, and everybody wanted Corliss Williamson. And they ended up trading for Robert Tractor Trailer out of Michigan, and then wound up with old Dirk. And everybody's like, who's this fucking Nowitzki guy? And I'm like,
yep.
I was the same way. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy? Like, why are they doing that? Like, bringing this unproven string bean European German fuck over here. Like, what are they doing? And then all of a sudden...
And look how that turned out.
Yeah. I mean, I'm like, holy shit. They captured lightning in a bottle. But then they... You know, I kind of felt the same way about Luka. I'm like, you're just trying to recreate the German guy. That's all you're doing.
That's how every Mavs like pre-draft board or whatever that you see on the internet since like 2005
has had a European fellow.
The white 7-footer from Europe is always the Mavs pick in every one of them.
Every
It drives me fucking nuts.
But see, you know, when they drafted Trae Young, I was so happy because I'm a Sooner fan through, and then like Trae Young is exciting.
Yeah. That's
one of the few trades I think that both teams won.
Yeah.
Like, it worked out beautifully both ways. So, anyway, little enough of the little Mavs story there. Do you guys think that it's going to mesh well with Kidd, Cuban, Luka? Do you think it's going to be a marriage? Is it going to work?
I don't think there's going to be a honeymoon phase. I think we're going straight into... Why are you leaving your fucking underwear on the floor? You know, put the toilet seat down. I think for a while, the first few months, everything's going to be great. They're going to sit down. They're going to have talks. They're going to have strategy.
Yeah.
Jason's going to say, no, I really want to do it this way. I'm your head coach. The GM's going to say, well, now, maybe you don't need to put the cart before the horse, and maybe we can change this up. And Cuban's going to say, how much fucking money is it going to cost me? And they're going to go back and forth. Everything will be okay the first few months. I think it's a tinderbox for sure. I do believe there's going to be times that it's going to explode. But I have a feeling, like I said, my gut, I have a feeling Jason's going to pull this team together.
So, you think at the first sign of adversity that you're going to start seeing this, what you're taught, this bend but don't break, the marriage starting to crack there? Let's say like 5 or 10 game losing streak or some shit like that. Just something.
I think you'll see the fans go nuts because everything I've seen online, a lot of the fan base is not happy with the Kidd hire. Because everything that I have seen in the last day on Twitter and Facebook and Instagram, everybody is excited.
Are they?
Yeah. It did surprise me. I think the funniest thing that I saw was Mav Nation on Twitter.
The computer died.
Yeah, hold on. Stop talking.
Jesus.
I don't know why everything's plugged in.
This is when the bobbleheads disappear.
That's the ghosts, man. It's the
I'm
ghosts.
telling you.
Is it going off?
Yeah.
You don't have the power plugged in?
I do.
Everything's plugged in.
The fuck?
I think you just killed your. Have you unplugged it and have you turned it off and turned it on
again?
again?
Get IT in here. Hopefully the recording didn't go. This is gonna make some great blooper reel. I'm glad it didn't go into the meat of the podcast. Do we still have everything?
Yeah, I mean it saved everything. It just stopped recording.
It just stopped recording.
Okay,
I don't know why.
We can finish up our little map talk. If you can blend it together, then we can just get into the meat.
But we'll just say on there that we lost power for a second, and now we're back.
Well, do you need to move the laptop over in front of you to keep it from stroking out?
No, just remember I gotta touch it every bit.
Okay.
every little bit.
Why though? It's never done that in the
Why don't you
past.
change the settings so that it doesn't go into sleep mode?
Well, it shouldn't have gone to sleep, but it's never done that before.
It's a true story. It hasn't. Like, this is a first. You've jinxed us.
Listen, it's not the first time I have been called a jinx. Trust me.
Alright, so we'll just get into the meat of it now. We'll get into the good stuff. You feel comfortable?
Uh-huh.
Everything good?
Uh-huh.
That's what we're trying to do.
This next segment's gonna be something though.
Well, that's what we're
That's what we're
going
hoping for.
Oh. You have how many followers? 10?
Maybe we had one dude download some shit from Brazil once. So that,
We did.
I think that was an accident too, but we'll find out.
We've had some from the UK.
Yeah, see, they're probably who are these fucking Yankees? That was more for kind of get you comfortable, get your feet wet, get a feel for each other. Me call Starkey.
No, we're good. I'm gonna hit record and we'll just start back. We'll just say, hey, power went out for a second. Welcome back. Finish the mass conversation and then roll into the other stuff.
That'll work.
I don't remember where it was at.
It don't matter. We'll just say, hey, kind of.
And we're back. We had a short power computer technological Neanderthal issue, and
Yeah.
so we should be good to go now.
It always happens to us. For some
It does.
reason. The video on this is going to be phenomenal.
It
It's
is.
going to be fucking great.
Yeah, because I don't edit the video for shit. I just edit the end and the beginning and post.
Oh, great.
You get, yeah, I edit from.
So they're gonna have 5 minutes of our mouths moving and us doing things and no
Oh,
audio.
no,
the audio's
the audio's on that. So
Oh,
the
okay.
video
We
records
have
off of
two
that.
sets of audio.
Okay.
This is just for the podcast stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, this is just
So-
for the Spotify, Apple shit. This is the YouTube channel.
So we unfortunately spent way too much time making fun of each other for not having a clue what's going on, and so we don't remember what we're talking about.
You were
So-
talking about what happens if they have a 5 or 10 game losing streak. You think, oh, and the fans, you were saying nobody, and I said,
I
yeah,
think the Mavs fans are. I love the Mavs. I've been a fan of the Mavs since we won like 8 games in the season. But
Derek Harper. It's
Derek
fucking
Harper.
Derek Harper.
Yeah.
oh, Lord.
And
It just dawned on me.
so,
You had like a mini stroke over there.
but the people that have been Mavs fans since like 03, 04, you know, when we started like the 50-win season, they're gonna freak out the minute we have a little bit of rough patch. or
Fair
the
weather
minute-
fans.
The minute it
You
looks
might
like
think,
Luka
though,
and
that
Dirk don't
those
get
are
along.
also
Or not Dirk.
the
Kidd don't
newer
get along.
generation, like Dakota that's been on this podcast. That's the meat
Yeah.
of his
Yeah.
existence is that time. You know, he doesn't remember the Rolando Blackman days.
Yes.
You know, he doesn't know who the fuck Derek Harper is.
Yeah.
He just sees a banner hanging up there with number 9. You know.
And so I think a lot of the Mavs' success is going to be based on, what is he? Is it Usurari? Is that the new GM?
Yes.
Yeah. It's how well he does as a GM. Because I felt like for a long time the Mavs' biggest problem has been we struggle to attract free agents and we don't draft well.
Okay.
And then Rick Carlisle, knowing we don't draft well, wouldn't play these rookie and second-year players that he didn't think were NBA worthy, and wouldn't develop them because he was like, they're shit players. Why would I play them? I'm going to play these vets that I've got. And so now with Kidd there and being he is a legit talent developer. I don't know how well a head coach he's going to be, but he develops talent very well. And so with him being there developing talent, it's all going to fall back on how well we draft and if we can actually get a marquee free agent.
Okay, that's where I was wanting to lead into. And you guys, who would coming into this free agent year? So we'll give it 2 years before Doncic could potentially walk. So let's start with this off season. Who is the guy that you guys would like to see come to the Metroplex now to build around what you already have in place?
This is going to sound crazy. It's why I'll never be a GM. I don't want anybody really to come. I want to trade Porzingis for some expiring contracts and a couple of draft picks to
Sure.
like the Thunder or something to get out from underneath his contract and have a
I've heard
year.
Kemba Walker talk. I don't think
I don't want Kemba Walker because he's a ball dominant
selfish.
guard
Very selfish.
and he's not going to play well with Luka. I wouldn't mind like a DeRozan on a cheaper contract or somebody like that.
It's never going to happen.
No, it's
Cuban's
not.
he's not going to trade Porzingis. He's just not.
Yeah.
Him and his bad knee and his rape allegations and all the crap that comes with
Mm-hmm.
him, he's just not going to let him go. He's just not.
Yeah.
You know, like you said, he's got his 2 foreign-born,
Well, but I think
9 foot tall,
Jersey sellers.
white kids.
Well, but I think that was
That's
a Donnie.
it. That's exactly it right there.
But I don't attribute
Jersey
that to
sellers.
Cuban. I think that was a Donnie Nelson thing because of how in love he was with European style ball. I think the European fetish with the Mavericks is was a Donnie Nelson thing and not a Cuban thing.
Well, I mean, you strike
Yeah.
gold once, you keep going there.
Yes,
You know?
and that's what I'm saying. Like Cuban went with it because he hit on Nowitzki, he hit on
He seems to have
Luka,
hit on Doncic.
you know, and so
Well, and Luka, I mean, I don't know. We'll
All right,
see.
Eric, who's your free agent? Who would you
I don't
like
have
to see?
nobody. No.
You want-
I want everybody to stay where they're at. I want Jason to get in there to really delve in and to figure out what the hell's the problem. Because I don't think the talent isn't there. I don't. I just think it needs some better coaching.
well, I think we beat the Clippers this year if they don't make the Josh Richardson trade with Seth Curry last year. If we have Seth Curry instead of Richardson, I think we beat the Clippers in 6 games this last postseason. I hated that trade. But
It's
we
a
made
give or
it.
take. You can take one piece of your puzzle and trade it for a different piece.
Yeah,
It's
you could what if
every
all
year.
day.
You're right. You
what
know,
if all day
again,
long.
the talent is there. I really, honestly, down deep believe the talent is there. I just feel that it's been tossed to the wayside.
Yeah.
It's not been guided the way that
Well,
it needs to be guided.
And I said this to you after the Clippers series. You know, when the Mavs fans were losing their mind about how horrible this roster was and how everybody needed to go and stuff. I think really we took the Clippers 7 games, and it took Kawhi heroics in 6 and 7 to beat the Mavs, and now they're in the conference finals. If they say they come back and beat the Suns and they make the finals, well then the Mavs took the Western Conference champion to 7 hard games that took heroics from one of their players, and they're beating everybody else without Kawhi.
Sure.
And so, maybe the Mavs aren't as far off as everybody thinks.
Well, it's going to be interesting. The draft room is going to be interesting.
It is.
The funniest thing, what I was saying earlier, the funniest thing that I saw on Twitter was Mav Nation that tweeted this morning. Welcome to Dallas, Jason Kidd. And I laid there in bed. It was my phone above me, and I was like, "What the fuck? Welcome to Dallas? Where the hell have you people been?"
It's like welcoming Troy Aikman.
He fucking knows the roads like the back of his hand. What do you mean? Welcome to
This is
Dallas?
his 3rd stint.
I'm like, oh my
Been there a
God,
few times.
seriously, you need to change your name from Mav Nation
It's
to
like-
No Nation.
Welcoming Tony Romo back,
Welcome to Dallas.
The one negative thing, besides the fact that I don't think Kidd will be a good coach, is that Mosley's leaving now, and I think Mosley should have got the job. Jamal Mosley, the assistant coach. I felt like that was who should have got the. He'll get a job somewhere, and
Sure.
I think he'll win a championship somewhere. Coaching.
He's who I was gunning.
Yeah.
Well, and did you see where Magic Johnson said, with Jason Kidd, I think they're going to be a championship team.
Mm-hmm.
They're a championship caliber team. That
Yeah.
was his tweet this morning,
And
yesterday.
I guarantee you, the Lakers hire Mosley.
Yeah, Lakers.
He'll take Kidd's spot on their staff.
Exactly.
Is what'll happen.
Yeah.
We'll meet a year from now. We'll see where they're at a year from now.
I'm
I love
interested to see what happens with Finley
I love it.
now, because I thought Finley was going to get the GM job, and so I'm curious if he.
They'll stick him somewhere.
Well, he's already the assistant. Like he's the second guy.
Well,
And so I was
but he
curious
may
if-
get pissed and walk.
I was curious. I hope not. I was a big Finley fan. So.
All right.
All right. I think that's it for the sports.
All right.
Fantastic.
Y'all like and subscribe, listen, all that jazz.
Where do we point? Usually,
Oh,
YouTube.
I don't. I'm not technologically advanced to type that stuff on there.
Yeah.
I'm hoping the people that listen to this know where to hit because I can't put it on the deal. So,
No shit.
like, I'm a monkey with a stick on this stuff. So,
Yep.
all right. Thank you.
Yep.